I have compiled a list of best destinations where I'd like to run with the truck, places I like to go and see. And to be fair, I've also compiled a list of the top places you might have to go with the truck. That's destinations you get when you know your dispatcher thinks you're at the bottom of the pole and he kind of hates your guts. He'll give you loads to these. But let's start with the good news first. Number one, and this is just scenery based, nice places to drive, and not on the weekend are the Florida Keys a nice place to go to because the traffic's goofy, but it's really pretty to truck down through the Florida Keys. So if you've never done that, if you can score a load or get some time after delivering in Miami to run down through Key West with the truck, it's worth the drive. It's a beautiful drive down to Key West. So check that out. Second most beautiful destination in North America, and I'm a little biased here, but the Canadian Rockies. If you've never been through the Canadian Rockies, it's something you've got to see. You've got to hit the Trans-Canada and go down through Golden and Revelstoke and Kelowna and through there. It's a beautiful, beautiful drive. You'll probably want to do that in the good weather because it's not nearly so beautiful in the wintertime. Like, it's pretty with the snow and stuff. It's not so pretty having to chain up the truck. But take a drive through the Canadian Rockies. Beautiful scenery, amazing. You've never seen anything like that. You got to get out there and check that out. Number three, the Grand Canyon. Now, you can't run a truck through the Grand Canyon, but you can get close and you can take some time off and go check that out. And again, it's amazing. There's just, the beauty is unreal. It's unmatched. And they've got this thing called the Skywalk, I think it is. And it's like a glass platform out over the canyon that's about a mile up in the air. Scary as hell, but cool as hell too. So check out the Grand Canyon. Anytime you're in that neighborhood with a big truck, take a day off and go have a look at that, man. That's something to see. I think it's one of the 7 wonders of the world, and with good reason. Next one, I like trucking through the deserts of Utah, Nevada, and Arizona. There's some pretty country there, you know, the cactus and the sunset and the sand and the wide open spaces, the desolation of the whole thing, I find is beautiful. I used to truck a lot out of Yuma, Arizona in the wintertime. I pulled out of Yuma. And just trucking back through there, I'd pop up to Quartzsite and run across, or run back up north into Vegas. And the scenery there is unmatched. It's desolate, but it's pretty all at the same time. Number 5 is kind of a strange one. There's not a lot of trucking that goes that direction, but there is some. I've done it once myself. Is a place they call the locals call it the Rock, but really it's Newfoundland, the island of Newfoundland up in Canada. You've got to take the ferry across to get there, and it's a kind of a crappy, boring ferry ride, but it's worth it to see Newfoundland. Just raw beauty, windy as hell, and you got to watch out for the moose. There's all sorts of moose there. I don't know what meathead introduced moose to that island a couple hundred years ago and for what reason, but they weren't there naturally. They were introduced, and now they're as thick as thieves out there. It's like hitting moose is like hitting mosquitoes. There's that many of them, so you got to be careful out there. But Newfoundland, beautiful scenery. So here are some other really nice destinations that didn't make my top 5 but are certainly worth honorable mention. Niagara Falls on the Ontario-New York state border. Go through there sometime and have a look around. Niagara Falls is incredible if you haven't seen it. The Tillman Bridge in Nevada. Now, they don't let you take a truck across the Hoover Dam like they used to. After the 9/11 threat, they didn't want trucks crossing there. So they built this Tillman Bridge, is what they called it. They named it after a football player / soldier that was killed in combat. But it's a beautiful thing, a beautiful piece of architecture. Runs over the Colorado River. Beautiful scenery. Go check out the Tillman Bridge. The Mackinaw Bridge. Again, another beautiful bridge. This one runs over the water, over the Michigan Straits. Very pretty on the Mackinac Island. Check that out. That's really nice. The eastern coast of the Canadian provinces like Nova Scotia, like Peggy's Cove and the Bay of Fundy, that type of thing. Very pretty scenery. Not busy, very remote. It's worth seeing. It's very nice. Coastal Highway 1 up the west coast of the U.S. Now, you've got to be careful on this highway. Certain parts of it don't allow tractor trailers, but you can even bobtail through there if you get a chance. And it runs up into Oregon and Washington State, and it's, God, some of the scenery along the coast is just beautiful. You want to check that out. 6. Now for the destinations. I'm not even sure I can say that on YouTube. If not, Kathy will blank it out. But number 1 dumper for me, any of the boroughs in New York City. I'm not a big Eastern Seaboard fan, but like, can you imagine wheeling your 53-footer around in downtown Manhattan or in the Bronx? It's not pretty. And the traffic just never ends there. And the people are rude. And there are no truck stops. And I can't think of a good thing to say about it. So, anything having to do with anything with New York City, avoid it like the plague. And if the dispatcher tells you that's your new regular run, time to find another job. Number 2, and not far behind New York City, anywhere in northern Jersey, like Paterson, Newark, Jersey City, dump holes. You don't want to go there with a truck. It's easy to get lost. There's lots of low overpasses. There's only one truck stop that I can think of in Jersey that's any good. It was a Petro. I can't think of the name of it. But it's kind of the only safe haven in that whole dumpy little state in the northern part there. Avoid northern Jersey. I recommend that too. It's no place for a truck. Might be all right for a 5-ton UPS van or something, but no place for a big semi. Number 3, another place that's just no fun to deliver with a big truck, is anywhere inside the Loop in Chicago. They got all sorts of narrow little streets. They got all sorts of low-running rail lines overhead, low bridges and stuff like that. And I can tell you from personal experience, the locals aren't overly friendly either. You get lost down there, you're going to get no sympathy. And you can weave back and forth for hours trying to get yourself out of there to find a ramp up onto the freeway where you can get underneath the rail tracks to get to it. So anything in the Loop in Chicago, no fun at all. Next one on the list, and this amazes me too, because this is the nation's capital. It would have some sort of police presence down in there to keep everybody safe. But man, that's just a jungle down there. I got lost down there one time and I was sweating bullets. I was glad as hell to get out of there. It's just no fun at all. So anything Washington, D.C., avoid that like the plague. Number 4 on the list of places you should avoid, East LA. Places like Compton and Watts, you don't want to be going in there. It's no fun at all. It's kind of the meatpacking district, and I used to have to go in there, but I'll tell you one thing. I sure never went in there after dark. It just wasn't safe. Number 5 on the list, again, California. San Francisco, downtown Oakland area. That's a kind of an easy place to get lost in. You can make the wrong turn and end up in the projects all by mistake, like I did. Or you can think it's a ramp and end up in the bus terminal, like I did, and have to back out again. No place for a big truck. Like, I know sometimes the money demands that you have to take a crap destination like that and a few skids here and a few skids there. Don't take anything going into Oakland, the Bay Area, downtown San Francisco. You'll be glad if you take my advice. You don't want to go in there. Those are my top 5 dumper destinations, but there are a few more that deserve dishonorable mention. Downtown Cleveland, downtown Atlanta, downtown Birmingham, Alabama, and last but not least, downtown Detroit. Really nice places to stay away from. There's nothing nice about any of them. Narrow streets, low bridges, no safe parking, and all sorts of locals with guns. So you want to avoid places like that like the plague, especially after dark. You know, over-the-road trucking has such few perks these days. Certainly money isn't one of them. But one of the best perks is getting to see the country and getting to see some of these beautiful spots. So no excuses. I know the dispatcher will be in a rush for you to drop this, pick up this, get going. Never mind. take the time, take the day or whatever it takes to go and see some of these places. You won't remember the next load you had to rush for, but you will remember seeing the Keys or seeing the Grand Canyon. You'll remember that for a lifetime. These things are worth seeing and doing. Make sure you take the time and figure it out and get to see it. Drop the trailer someplace if you have to and bobtail in. It's worth it to take the time. Tell me some of the worst places and some of the best places you've been, and tell me why. I'd be curious to know. I'm sure I've missed some. The idea of the game is to make money and stay safe. Never mind the freight. There's no freight that's worth risking your life for. Be careful where you go. Stay safe. Keep the rubber side down. Enjoy the scenery. And I'll see you on the back haul.